Hello, and welcome to another episode of Rewind with Ro. I'm your host, Ro Carter, and I have my amazing co host, Rob. How are you, buddy?
I am doing great. I'm great. Thank you for asking.
Ooh, welcome back. How was your weekend?
Weekend was good. Weekend was good. I think it was a bit uneventful, but it was good. No, I had a friend in town from Australia. So yeah, my friend John. Shout out to John. He was in town from Australia, so I hung out with him and his staff. They had like their staff retreat here in the States. So it was fun.
When someone comes to visit you, are there certain ground rules? Like, are they like, yo, bro, I want to party? Are they like, no, let's do something nice, let's see some artwork or something like that? Or you're just like, do you resume your old behaviors, or no, you're older now and you're wiser and you're like, no, we're just gonna relax and chill and have some tea and a coffee and relax?
Not tea. Well, it depends on. Well, I do like some tea, but not when I'm like going out. But it was. I don't resort back to my crazy days, but we did have a good time. But he had like a whole agenda for his staff, so I was just like the invited guest to a couple of dinners. So I got to hang out for the dinners. I was like, I can't do too much of the other crazy stuff because I still have life and work here. So,
As most of us do.
how about you? What you do over the weekend?
I went to the Jets game, and we're gonna get you into sports, but I'm a big Jets fan. If anybody knows that, so I'll probably rock a Jets blazer at some point. But I went to the Jets game on Sunday. New York was crazy because London, the Giants played in London against the Green Bay Packers, and they won. And then the Jets played at 1 o'clock, and then there was a Mets game that was a late game, and the Mets had to win that game to go into the playoffs. And so, like, all of New York was just like, let's go, let's go. Sports.
Well, all your teams won.
No. The Mets wind up losing and not making the playoffs. And so the joke was we were going to try to make it to all the games, like, what if you did that? But I couldn't function after that Jets game. So, yeah, I'm not going to drink any alcohol for a while. Take a break. And,
Yeah, well, I love when we all say that and it doesn't come true. But
that's
you
right.
know, I have faith in you.
I
Bro.
think,
Faith in you. You can do it.
thank you, Rob. One of the many few that do. So before we go into this show tonight, we have some great movie that I picked out. It's the 3,000 Years of Longing. Oh man, starring Idris Elba as a genie. They call him a jinn. And then we're gonna go to Reasonable Doubt. I mean, this show has 6 episodes. We're only gonna talk about the first 2, but kind of go into that, unravel that, see what we think about that, which is crazy. The cast is amazing. So I'm really looking forward to discuss that. But first, you got anything to get off your chest, Rob?
You got to bring me some topics to get off my chest.
Let it out. I mean, I bring you topics. You're like, I don't want to talk about that. So it's you got anything that irked you this week that you were just like, I don't like it when people do this?
Man, so you got to prepare me for this. Anything that irked me this week? Well,
someone just your last nerve. You're like, come on. Or like you went out to dinner with your friend, or is there someone who didn't order? Or like, I'm one of those people. I apologize in advance. So when you order, I need like 3 or 4 things in my order, So it's like, oh, can you put that on the side and can you take that off? But can you add that? I'm that guy. Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, I'm definitely not that. Yeah, you would irk me.
Yeah.
But, no, I was gonna say the thing that irked me is that woman who shall not be named, and I'm not gonna say her name. I said her name last week, and we talked about
how. She did another week on you.
She has like a documentary coming out, and I don't even want to give any like energy or air to this, and it's all like it's like anti George Floyd and then like Black Lives Matter. She's just such a horrible person, and she shall not be named. I'm not going to even give her space in this conversation. But like, how dare you? Like, seriously?
Yeah, that person is an awful human being.
Awful.
And I remember originally when that first came out, and she was speaking upon George Floyd, and he said about his criminal background and everything, and just like, people can have a bad past, but they're still a human at the end of the day. And to take away that person's rights right there, that was, anyway, that person shall remain the devil. Anyway.
I'll remain unnamed because I'm not giving her any. Okay, moving on. Yeah, that clearly.
Trigger.
and I'm not going to talk about the other one, but he went her equal in the white male form is Tucker Carlson, and he went on there and had that Ye went on there and had that interview. They're just all irking me right now. I just don't even. I can't even talk about them anymore. I can't.
Yeah, I wasn't even gonna bring them up. I was gonna leave them alone. I wanted like good, positive stories. I'll just get one thing off my chest before we start the show. Coming back from the Jets game, there was a guy laying down on the train. Like, we got to transfer from one train to like a regular train. And this brother was just like sprawled out. And I looked at him. I probably shouldn't have done that. But I was like, really? What you're going to do today? You're just gonna sprawl out and just get your place. And I put my camera on him and everything. And he was looking at me like, I was like, yeah, this is your home. This is going to put your feet up. There's a packed train and you just don't care. And he just like,
oh, he made it known. He wasn't.
Yeah. And I had a part of me, the other part of me was fighting, like, just relax, just breathe. But I called him out of it. So that's my pet peeve. The trains, you don't have to deal with that more because you have your car, you're driving to places. But in New York City, there's sometimes just things that you can't control, like the subway, and you sometimes your mind will be like, hey, I have this planned. And no, that doesn't happen at all. From AC to people's butt cracks out to chicken wings all over the seat to.
See, but you should just plan to be entertained, and then you won't be disappointed.
That's a way to look at it. Definitely. So let's get into it. Here we go. You know what? I'm going to start with Reasonable Doubt. All right. So this takes place with a lawyer from LA. She was a defense lawyer and then decided to go work for a practice, making big money. It's very interesting, this show. I only watched 2 episodes. There's 6 episodes now out on Hulu. This is done by Kerry Washington. She's the main producer on this. So listen, off the bat, it starts with her being handcuffed and a gun is putting towards her head. So right off the bat, I'm like, oh, what's going on here? The shock factor is there. But then there's so many layers to this character. Beautiful sister. I'm sorry, we got her name.
Emiati Cornaldi.
Thank you. There you go. Because I would have. But we're gonna learn her name here. We're gonna learn her name. Yeah. Anyway, she plays Jax Stewart. Jax Stewart is very complicated, right? Because she's a Black woman in a white man's world, and just trying to find her place. But also her place within her relationship with her husband. They're on and off with her family, just with herself, right? At the end of the day, there's so many layers to this. She's going through some big cases at the same time. One has to deal with murder now, as we find out later in episode 2. And the other one has to deal with, the same thing we see all the time. NBA players or professional athletes or actors getting into some crap with the lady trying to extort them and then kind of go from there. So first, I want to ask you, Rob, what did you think about the show, how it first started? Any characters that you're really excited to see grow? And what did you think about Jax individually as her character, like portraying a powerful Black woman? Was it over the top a little bit, or was it just enough to keep you going?
Well, I will say, I'm not going to say it was over the top. I think it was great because a good friend of mine, Rashida Brady, is one of the writers for the show, and she's also a supervising producer. Hey, Rashida. So I just want to shout her out. And she's amazing. I think, again, I love when there's people attached to projects that are in the background that you may not know. And I feel them becoming like household names because she's worked on so many great projects, from like The Godfather of Harlem to The Chi, and now this project, which like you mentioned, is executive produced by Kerry Washington, but it's also co-executive produced by Pete Chapman, who has always been a great friend to Blackfilm.com. And he's an amazing director. So we have to give him a shout out too and credit. But yeah, I think that the story is written in a way that it's in a tone that I think a lot of Black women and Black people in general will be able to relate to. I think it'll resonate with them. Like the conversations and the jokes between her and her friends, I think are really grounded in truth and relatability. So I think there's going to be a lot of people who watch this and go, oh, I know her. So, and I think that is a hats off to Emiati as well for that, because I think she's done a great job in like crafting who she is, who her character is. And I met Emiati years and years and years ago, but she really like stood out to me in Ballers I think that was like breakout for her, like really phenomenal performance in that show. And I think she's carried that that energy, this like powerful, this powerful, smart, successful Black woman in power to this show, and it's really exciting to see that that dynamic. So I'm super excited to see where it goes.
It's funny because a lot of my white friends have reached out to me. They love this show, but I know some white friends that are in power, like powerful women positions, and they're like, I just think some of the times the color issue was forced, right? She's like, oh, I'm in this section of the of work, you know, the Black section. Oh, because I'm Black, I got to do this. Like, you're invited because you can hold your own, right? Mm-hmm. So there's no need to force the issue. So I was like, oh, I had to look at it again in that light, right, to see if I saw it. But I was like, listen, you're a woman, you're white. I'm Black, I'm a man. I don't understand that dynamic really for a Black woman to be in that situation. So I would actually love to hear Coco speak on this, maybe get her next week and try to get her on here. But just hear another Black woman who's been in those positions and be like, yeah, it is like this, or I do feel that. Or it was nice to see that represented on screen because we don't have a voice as much. Besides Cookie, right, back in the day. Yeah. You know, that was it, right? That really, you know, and Bel Air is starting to move up and other shows like that. But, you know, this show has so many layers. It felt like I was watching, you know, Bel Air, what was it? How to Get Away with Murder. You know, that suspense. The sex scenes, I don't know what's going on with that. There's a lot of stuff. I mean, listen, man, I don't. I want to word this right so I don't get canceled.
What are you about to say?
But like, she got some issues.
Listen, some people enjoy
drama, like Holly, like it's I call it the Halle Berry thing, right? You said like the third time is you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
do not. Hey, you don't.
No, not anymore. That was old school Holly, old school Holly. But that was the saying back then. Third time, baby girl, is you. You know, so that's how I felt. I was like, you just love the drama and trouble. Her husband. Oh, shout out to this brother here, McKinley Freeman. Shout out to you, brother. You were blowing up. I love it. I love it to see him. I knew him from LA at the gym I worked at. He was one of the members there. Always a cool guy. So glad to see him kind of slowly getting back into it. He was in Our Kind of People. He came in later in that show. Didn't renew. Apologize for that. Sorry. But hey, you got a new show. You're great on that. But it's great to see a positive. My point of bringing him up was it was great to see such a positive role model, a dad that's there for his kids. You know how they like to crap on us all the time. Brothers ain't there for the kids, but he's there more than his wife, right? And Jax is just kind of all over the place. Again, she just feels like she can either solve everything with just paying for it through money or in the job that she is and not really dealing with that. And he calls her out a couple of times on that. They go through their ups and downs, which I don't know how you come back together.
But I think that's the beauty of her character as well, because she's extremely complex, right? Because she's this really polished, pulled together, smart, successful attorney, but then at the same time, she still has all of these personal issues that she's trying to work through with her husband and her relationship with her children and her mother, and you know her. Hey, I'm not judging her character because you know we all choose to do what makes us happy in our relationships, and if they have an agreement that certain things work and turn them on, then who am I to judge? Who am I to judge? Like, but I think
I agree with you until there's like responsibilities involved, right? That's seriously. You have no kids, you're not doing any of that. You paying your rent on time, doing what you got to do. Then do you, baby girl, do you. But when you got the kids involved and you're wondering why they don't want to talk to you half the time.
But let's be clear. She's made it clear several times in this show that he chose to leave. She didn't. He chose to leave. She made that very clear.
But she did give him an ultimatum.
Okay. Well. Okay.
We agree to disagree.
See, but at least the show is inciting this kind of dialogue. See, and I think that's what I think is great about it. I think the writing is great. I think they did a great job. They're causing this kind of conversation because I love seeing a variety of Black people on screen. Yeah. Like we're not a monolith. We don't look one way. We don't act one way. we don't fit into one box. And I think showing us in a variety of ways is powerful, because as everyone loves to say now, because I think it's so important, is representation matters, and seeing us in various like relationship structures, levels of like our careers, family structures. Like I think it's great to see that, and I think they're doing a great job so far. I'm excited to see what comes, and of course, it's Kerry Washington and Pete Chapman, and I'm on board. I'm sold.
Again, Rob's very easy to sell people.
No, I'm not. But I also, and I love the relationship between her and her mother. Like, it's hilarious.
Yeah, they're funny. And then I love how she says the N word, like the old school N drops, like, please. I'm like, yo, that's kind of like what Kerry Washington wasn't able to say on her show.
Yeah.
And it was not, those subtle ones come up, and I was crying, laughing. I remember when I first heard it, I was like, did she just say that? So I kind of like, it's black. The show is black.
It is. And that's why I was saying I love that. It's like the language of it is very relatable. And I feel like when people watch it, they're really going to be like, oh, I know her. Or like, that's my homegirl. Like, they're going to have that feeling about Emi Azi's character, because again, the way she speaks, the way she is with her friends, the way she is with her kids, her at church with her mom. Like, I just love the way they integrated that like everyday feel of like language and communication and connection with community in there, because I think it's going to be really relatable. Yeah.
And also switching codes, right? Having your work, and then when you up, hey girl, I love her secretary because she's real.
Yeah.
So would you recommend the show to someone saying, hey, I want to see a new show? Give me some advice on what you would see. Would you recommend Reasonable Doubt?
Absolutely. I would say check it out. I would say, look into it, see what you think, let us know, drop a little comment. Yeah, I would definitely recommend checking it out, especially, and again, this is one of those shows you can binge watch. So if you have a little spare time on your hands on a Saturday, just go ahead and binge it and watch all of them at one time, or you can digest them one at a week like we're doing.
No one has spare time on Saturday. So it's a Wednesday, Thursday night show. It's not a Saturday show. It's not Saturday. I don't know where Rob's coming with that Saturday stuff. All right. Anyway, moving on. So Rob recommends it. I recommend it. Check it out, please, please, please. Now, for our film of tonight, 3,000 Years of Longing. Oh my goodness. So listen, two amazing actors. Idris can be action. He can be humble. He can be the leading man. He can really be anything. He can be a genie. He can really be anything. But to be on screen, I want to make sure I say her name right. Tilda Swinton. She's been around. She's like a heavy hitter. When she's on a screen, she can act. And so when I first saw this movie, I was like, how is this going to work out? So Tilda basically plays a professor named Althea. And so she's in Istanbul. People go to Istanbul. Anyway, she's traveling with other professors, and she believes in myths and fairy tales, all that kind of thing that's going on. And in doing so, she stumbles upon this kind of like food market area in Istanbul, and she finds this kind of like crystal thing, and later on winds up opening it up by accident, cleaning it with her toothbrush, and all of a sudden it's a genie. And Idris Elba's character pops out. His name is called Jinn. So they don't call him Genie, they call him Jinn. This was fascinating take. Sometimes movies, when there's a genie involved, it just goes all over the place. They get silly with it. But I really love, because she's such a great actress and he's such a great actor, is that they have a dialogue and a conversation about, how did you get into the bottle, right? And then what was your life like before that? They never really showed you, even with Aladdin, right? They never really showed you how the genie got in the bottle, or his history, what he lived before that. And so to see Idris' character, Jinn, go through all these other lives before, because he's been 3,000 years, right? Think about that time. And a lot of the time he was stuck in the bottle, but just your thoughts that go in your mind. And then you really see these characters build. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful scenes and shots. The storyline's amazing. What did you think of it, Rob?
I'm absolutely a fan of films that spend a lot of energy and attention on the beauty of it. And I think that this was so wonderfully captured. It was like vibrantly colorful. The story was impeccable. I loved the like you said, following the story of the Jinn and his journey. So going into it, I wasn't really sure what the journey was going to be. I've seen all the trailers, I've seen the clips, and I was like, it looks beautiful, it looks exciting. But when we actually got into the story and we got to dig into the meat of the story, and it was his story, I was like, oh, okay, this is an interesting take on it. Like you said, instead of it being like the journey of the person who opened the bottle or who now has the opportunity to make these 3 wishes, it was kind of his journey. And I thought that there was a great way to approach it. So it was more of her being, I love how they took her reluctance to, because she was a scholar and she kind of dealt in the world of mythology and heroes and that sort of thing. She already had a kind of a guard up about it when he came out, and she was like, I don't know if I trust you.
That was great. Like, nothing comes good from anything we've ever seen in history.
Yeah, exactly. So it was cool that she kind of had that hesitancy to jump out and make some wishes. So instead we got to have a dialogue with him and kind of hear his journey. So I wasn't expecting that, and I thought it was great. And I love Idris. I'm gonna give myself a shout out because I was in a project that was produced by Idris called Milk and Honey years ago, and he personally.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So I was in his project. So I already have like an affection for Idris. So but I love the project. I thought it was beautifully captured. It was very well done. The performances were stellar. There's nothing bad I can say about it. I honestly just thought it was phenomenal.
There's one thing I can, so, she goes through all these stories with him, and then she finally, something happens. I don't want to give the movie away, but something happens later where she actually does decide to make a wish. So after all this going on, this dialogue, and she hears all these stories, something happens where she decides to make a wish. Now, in doing so, they come back home to where she lives in London. And it reminded me of, like, when you go on vacation, you have an amazing week, and then you come back home and you're just like, trying to pick up that same energy you have when you're on vacation. It's just like, I'm back home again. This is it. Like Eeyore, bah humbug. All right, okay. So you felt it was kind of deflated, and I wish, like, at some point the movie ended like right then, but it went on a little longer because you had to see them kind of live it out. So it was interesting to see that part, but I was like, you could have ended this right there. That was fine.
But I'm glad they didn't end it there. See,
I am too. But at one point I was like,
And the only reason I say that is because because again, like, the whole story was this sorrow of seeing his 3,000 years of longing to have like his freedom out of this bottle. Like, that's what he's been wanting for 3,000 years, and I couldn't imagine like being in prison for 3 years. Like, but many people know more than that. So, but like, just 3,000 years, and so there had to be.
Rob knows the penal system very well. 3 years.
So there had to be some payoff for us to see how this journey ends for him, if it ends with him back in the bottle, or if it ends with him free, or like where it goes. So I think we needed to see the juxtaposition of him going through this journey of like sorrow to where it could end. Is it going to end in sorrow, or is it going to end in positively for him? So we had to see where it was going to go.
It keeps you on your feet, right? You're like, hey, is this going to work out? I mean, are you gonna? And that's that. I think you always see that when you see those movies. Like, is anybody gonna wish this person out? And that like, never happens. They get trapped again, or tricked into getting trapped in there. There's one quote I wanted to write down, and it's when Althea decides to make her wish, and she literally says, the reason that Jinn was gonna give his life up, his freedom. So there's 3 stories that they tell in there, and then. I don't have a quote at all, actually. There's no quote here, just a storyline of telling you what happened.
Don't spoil the movie now, Ro.
Yeah, there's no quote at all. But I'm not spoiling. But point is, she just says, the Jinn decides to say, that he was willing to risk, his freedom for love, and she's never experienced that and wanted to. And so that was a beautiful moment, and to see a person open up. So we're very reluctant, I think, in love. A lot of us are, especially nowadays. You know, it's not the same way that you used to meet in COVID like that. So it made me think about how we interact nowadays as human beings. You know, what would we risk for love? You know, and you see this story and this breakdown. You're like, oh man, imagine doing this and caring for someone so much that it drives you insane. Oh my God, you got to see these stories. Like I can't. I'm gonna. Oh, it's so frustrating. But you just feel for the genie at so many times, you know, because he's just caring, or you know, about whether it's a friend, because he befriends some of them, and then going through that. So you really feel for Jin's character. It's a beautiful movie. It reminded me, without the gore, but it reminded me of Pan's Labyrinth, with just all the colors and the interesting kind of things that were going on. And there's other powers and mythical beings in this as well. So it's really, really cool film. So anyway, last but not least, anything you want to add on that, Rob?
No, yeah, I think at the end of the day, like you just kind of hinted at, it definitely is a love story. And it's a well-crafted love story. It's a fun approach to it. And I definitely would recommend it.
Rob, I always ask you this. What are you going to give it on the scale, Rob?
How many stars is it? 4?
Every week he does this. Every week, ladies and gentlemen. 4 stars. Yeah, you do 4. Sometimes you like to be crazy with it. I'm going to change it to something else. Yeah, right now, last week of 4 stars. What would you give it?
Well, if you change it up, bro, I'm gonna be so confused. I'm gonna be giving out like 25 stars. I'm gonna be
do it anyway. You do it anyway.
That's true. That's true. Okay, I'm gonna give this one again because I love fantasy. I love like vibrant, beautiful films. I love like the performances. I thought were amazing. I thought it was impeccably done, and I hope a lot of people will go support it. I love Idris, so I'm gonna give it 4 out of 4.
It's either I'm picking and we're picking amazing movies here on Rewind with Ro, or Rob just loves everything.
I was going to say that. I think you just keep picking all the best things.
Oh, we're doing really good movies. I mean, that's just what we do here. That's it. That's it.
Like you did The Woman King, and then now like you just keep picking good movies. I'm not gonna. These are movies that are just 4 stars.
They pick me, Rob. They pick me.
I
Last question for you, Rob. Before we end the show tonight, if you had 3 wishes, Rob. 3 wishes. What would they be?
Woo.
No pressure. No pressure, Rob.
A lot of pressure. No pressure. There's a lot of pressure. Well, right off the bat, okay. I don't care what anyone says. Everyone's gonna make this wish. It's gonna be their first wish. I don't care what they tell you. And by the way, there's rules to what you can wish for.
Yeah, there's rules too. You learn about that. Okay, yeah. The good point. Good point. But to follow those same rules and guidelines. What would your 3 be?
My first is gonna be just I want like $500 million that is like legally obtained that is rightfully mine in my account.
So 500 million.
Mm-hmm. I'm not being greedy.
Not a billion. Just not a billion.
I'm not being greedy. I just said 500 billion. What? I avoided saying a billion because I didn't want to be greedy. I'll get there, but 500 million. A cool 500 million.
After taxes?
After taxes. I pay taxes on it. It's all legal. It's all above board. It's in my account.
You know what they used to say back in the day, Rob? More money, more problems. I'm just letting you know. Just letting you know.
More money. I'm getting rid of a bunch of problems. Okay.
All right. What's your second one?
See, I'm stumped on the other 2. I'm stuck.
Well, give me one more. Just give me one more. If you can give me one more. I know it's tough. I just asked you last minute, but give me one more.
It's so tough. It's so tough. I promise you, I was sitting here when the movie was playing. And I'm like, what would I wish for?
Right? That's why you got to watch this film, because you do it too. Like, would I wish for something?
Right.
Like, what's going on? Like, maybe I wouldn't wish for anything. All right. I'll go. While you think, I'm gonna go one.
You go.
If I would, I can travel wherever I want at a snap of a finger. Like, I can think of it in my head, and I can just travel there.
I'll be scared of that.
What?
What if you like dreaming and you like?
No, it only works, Rob. It only works. Oh, matter of fact, we do. There was like I think a movie like you have to like point to the place in the map, like on the thing, and you have to touch it or something like that, and then boom, and then I can go there. Just so I don't wind up in like a volcano or something like that. So yeah, just touch it. That's it.
Oh, I know what I would wish for.
Oh, here we go, Rob. Here we go.
See, because this is dangerous too. I would want to tap into the use of my brain.
Oh, a full function? Like what was that movie with the?
Maybe not even that full function, but like just I want to tap in to the use of more of my brain so that I have like elevated intelligence and like knowledge of like the world around me in a way that's, you know, a little bit more dialed in. I don't know. What's the movie you're gonna say?
With Bradley Cooper, and he has the pill, and the pill gives him. Anyway, you call me up with that, but movie, and he took the pill, and it made him access more of his brain.
Is that crazy that I want to like have access to the full capacity of my thoughts in my brain? And
that's deep. I like that. That's deep. You want to? I'm always afraid of something like that because, like, you can't turn it off. You know, I can't give another part away. Oh,
yeah, we kind of see that in the film. We kind of
So that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that's what's going on, right? You just have all these things coming at you at once, whereas your brain is just functioning at different levels, so you don't ever sleep. Right?
That's why I said not the full, like
full use one.
I want, just an elevated use of my brain. I wouldn't say the full because I don't want to go crazy for sure. Definitely don't want that.
You want to go full Kanye? You just want to go. You just want to go. You just want to go. You know,
God.
You know.
That's gonna be the new phrase.
Ninjas in Paris, maybe that's it. That's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot. You want to go full Kanye.
Okay.
The lights. You know. Anyway. Yeah, my second. You know what? I always think about this one. It scares me a little bit, but sometimes I kind of want to think what people are thinking. Like if I could read people's minds, I'm in sales. And so it's not, you have to figure it out through body language and stuff, but it'd be great to be like, oh, boom, got it. Let's go. But sometimes I might not want to know that at all, but someone's probably thinking about me, but maybe it would help. Maybe I'd probably go insane doing that, but that's one of the other wishes I've won.
Oh yeah. I think, that one, that's a tricky one. Cause you going to walk past somebody who you think loves you and they're going to be like this mother. I keep them thoughts to yourself. I don't want to keep them to yourself.
But I want to be able to turn it off or turn it on. So during the day, I'm functioning. If I want to turn it on, I can be like, oh, I want to hear them, and I go like this, and boom, I can hear them.
See, you gotta think about like having what you want in advance, bro. Because you asked that Jen for that wish just with a blanket. You're gonna be screwed up.
Yeah, you got to make sure you're asking specifically exactly what you want in detail. I'll probably have to type it out a couple of times to really, dissect it down. But that's a guy.
You gotta be real specific.
And maybe the last one, it's either being able to go underwater and breathe underwater, or fly. But I've never looked at. So when they always do Superman, he's like straight up, and that hurts for a long period of time. Like, have you ever stood up straight and just doing a Superman on the floor? It's not, after a while, your back hurts. Your back hurts.
I think maybe your muscles would have adjusted to maintain that flight pattern for a little while. I don't know. That's just wet.
Again, I'm just gonna go with like I can breathe underwater. So I can see all the things underwater. I don't know. I'm just trying to.
I like that. I just don't want to be down there with a bunch of sharks swimming around. I'm good.
I don't. By the way, I didn't get any money at all for myself in any of those wishes.
You sure didn't. You just like flying around, swimming under the water.
Yeah, I'm broke. I'm a broke.
I'll loan you a couple dollars.
Hey. I appreciate you, brother.
I got 500 million. I'm good.
Not $1 billion, just $1 million. I just need $1 million from you. That's all. That's all I need. Just $1 million.
It'll be an investment.
Oh my God! So before we close out, I want to say thank you again to Rob, my co-host. I had fun today, as usual. Always a good time, good laugh. Sorry about Till. Sorry, it doesn't come out till this Friday, so it's actually next week. So next week we will be talking about Till. Oh man, that's gonna be a tough one. It's gonna be a tough one.
Yeah.
So no tears, no tears. Just laugh, have a good time, talk about a story, some deep thoughts. Anything you want to say before we bail out here, Rob?
No tears, bro. You cried on the Woman King.
What had happened was like
I'm ready for the water.
I'm strong. It was just a different thought. You know, I was in my feelings that day. And like you said, you guys weren't gonna judge me after that moment. But like
no judgment.
All right, I'm just, you know, I don't do that, man. I don't normally you could be a man and be comfortable. Just I'm not one of those like, you know. Anyway,
Real man cry.
Yeah, we're going. Yeah, exactly. 2022. Yes. Yes. All right.
Well, I appreciate it. I had a great time. Thank you, bro.
Thank you, brother. Be safe. Have a great week. Good luck with everything you do. Remember, you can see everything on blackfilm.com. Rewind with Rob. He posts everything. He does a lot of interviews, behind the scenes, writes columns. He does everything.
That's right.
So check him out. So thank you guys again for tuning in. Have a good one.